quiet soldier's secret saved his team. In the scorching sands of a war-torn desert, he was just another grunt, Sergeant Eli, the guy who kept his head down and followed orders. His squad barely noticed him. Some even called him the Ghost. But when an ambush trapped them in a deadly crossfire, Eli's hidden past as a Delta Force operator turned the tide of survival. This is a story of courage that no one saw coming, and it changed a squad forever. Welcome to Silent Heroes. Before we dive into this incredible tale, drop a comment below. Where are you watching from right now? And if you believe unsung heroes deserve their moment, hit that subscribe button and join us in honoring the quiet legends who shape history. Ready? Let's step into Eli's story, a tale that proves the bravest hearts often beat in silence. The year was 2014, and the Al-Raqqah Valley, a fictional conflict zone in the Middle East, was a land of unrelenting sun and sudden violence. Firebase Delta, a small U.S. Army outpost, sat nestled between jagged cliffs and endless dunes. It was a place where soldiers lived on edge, where every patrol could be their last. Among them was Sergeant Eli Carter, a man in his late 40s with a weathered face, a faded uniform, and eyes that seemed to carry the weight of 1,000 unseen battles. To his squad, Eli was an enigma. He didn't joke around the campfire, didn't brag about his tours, didn't even carry a photo of family back home. Just another lifer, they'd say, shrugging. The younger soldiers, like Private First Class Jake Malone, called him the Ghost because he moved so quietly, spoke so little. Guys probably never fired a shot in anger, Jake would laugh, elbowing his buddies. Eli never corrected them. He'd just clean his rifle, check his gear, and nod when given orders. The squad's leader, Lieutenant Harper, a brash officer fresh from West Point, didn't think much of Eli either. "Carter, you're on rear guard again," he'd bark. "Stay out of the way." Eli would nod, his face unreadable, and take his position. But there was something about him. His hands moved with precision when assembling his gear. His eyes scanned the horizon like he could see through the dust. Nobody asked, though. Nobody cared to. In a war zone, you didn't dig into a man's past unless he offered it. It was a routine patrol, or so they thought. The squad, 10 soldiers, including Eli, was tasked with scouting a supply route through a narrow canyon. The air was thick with heat, the silence broken only by the crunch of boots on sand and the hum of a distant drone. Jake cracked jokes to ease the tension, while Harper barked orders over the radio. Eli, as usual, brought up the rear, his rifle slung low, his eyes scanning the cliffs above. Then it happened. A deafening crack split the air. A sniper's shot. Private Daniels, the point man, dropped, clutching his leg. Before anyone could react, machine gun fire erupted from the cliffs, pinning the squad against the canyon walls. "Ambush!" Harper shouted, diving behind a rock. Bullets rained down, kicking up clouds of dust. The radio crackled with static. Reinforcements were too far out. The squad was trapped, outnumbered and outgunned. Jake froze, his bravado gone. "We're done for!" he yelled, his voice shaking. Harper tried to rally the team, but his orders were frantic, disjointed. The enemy hidden in the cliffs tightened their grip, their fire relentless. Daniels groaned, blood pooling beneath him. The squad was seconds from breaking. Amid the chaos, Eli moved. He dropped to a crouch, his movements fluid, precise, like a predator waking from a long sleep. "Stay low," he said, his voice calm but commanding. The squad barely registered it. They were too busy scrambling for cover. But Harper noticed. "Carter, what the hell are you doing?" he snapped. Eli didn't answer. He was already moving, crawling through the dust toward Daniels. Bullets whizzed overhead, but Eli didn't flinch. He reached Daniels, tore a strip from his own sleeve, and tied a tourniquet around the soldier's leg in seconds. "You're going to make it," he told Daniels, his voice steady. Then he turned to the squad, his eyes burning with a focus that silenced their panic. "Listen up," he said. "We're getting out. Follow my lead." Harper stared, stunned. "You're not in charge, Carter." But Eli was already moving, signaling the squad to shift positions. He pointed to Jake. "You, cover fire, 3-round bursts. Now!" Jake, wide-eyed, obeyed without question. Eli grabbed a smoke grenade from his pack, lobbed it into the canyon, and used the cover to reposition the squad behind a cluster of boulders. His movements were instinctual, practiced, like he'd done this 100 times before. The smoke cleared, but the enemy wasn't done. A second wave of fire came from the cliffs, heavier this time. Eli scanned the terrain, his mind racing. "They've got a machine gun nest 200 meters up," he said, pointing to a rocky outcrop. Harper, still shaken, muttered, "We can't take that out." Eli ignored him. He grabbed a fallen soldier's rifle, checked the scope, and took aim. In one shot, the enemy gunner slumped. The squad stared, mouths agape. Eli didn't stop. He directed Jake and another soldier to lay suppressive fire while he flanked the enemy position. Moving like a shadow, he scaled the cliff, using the terrain for cover. The squad watched, stunned, as he took out 2 more enemy fighters with precision, clearing the nest. "Move!" he shouted, and the squad scrambled forward, dragging Daniels to safety. By the time reinforcements arrived, the enemy was retreating. Eli stood at the canyon's edge, rifle in hand, his face calm but streaked with sweat and dust. Jake, panting, looked at him. "Who are you, man?" Eli just shrugged. "Just a soldier doing his job." Back at Firebase Delta, the squad gathered in the mess tent, still reeling. Daniels was airlifted to a field hospital, expected to survive. Harper, his confidence shaken, pulled Eli aside. "Carter, what was that out there? You moved like you've done this before." Eli didn't answer, just cleaned his rifle in silence. Jake, however, wasn't letting it go. He'd noticed a faded patch on Eli's gear bag, half hidden under a strap. He pulled it out, a Delta Force insignia, worn but unmistakable. "No way," Jake whispered. He showed it to the squad, and whispers spread. Later, Harper dug through old records and found a classified file. Staff Sergeant Eli Carter, Delta Force, retired after a covert mission in 2003, where he saved his team from a similar ambush, earning a Bronze Star he never claimed. That night, the squad gathered around Eli at the campfire. Jake, usually cocky, was quiet. "Why didn't you tell us, Sarge?" Eli looked into the flames. "Didn't need to. You don't fight for medals. You fight for the guy next to you." Harper nodded, a newfound respect in his eyes. "We owe you, Carter." Eli just smiled faintly. "Just keep moving forward. That's enough." The squad never called him the Ghost again. They started training harder, listening closer, and when Eli spoke, they hung on every word. Firebase Delta had a new legend, one they'd never forget. Eli didn't carry his patch or boast his past. His heroism lived in the choices he made when the bullets flew, when his squad needed him most. In the chaos of war, he was the quiet strength that held them together. So we ask you, have you ever met an Eli? Someone who seemed like just another face in the crowd, but whose courage changed everything in a moment of crisis. Maybe a veteran who never spoke of their service, a friend who stepped up when no one else could, or a stranger whose quiet strength left a mark. Share their story in the comments. Write their name, because these heroes, the ones who walk silently, deserve to be remembered. If Eli's story stirred something in you, if it made you think of the unsung legends in your own life, hit that subscribe button. Join silent heroes in shining a light on these stories, in giving a voice to those who choose silence. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it, someone who believes in the power of courage. And don't forget to hit the bell, because the next story might be about a hero just like the one you know. Let's keep these stories alive, together. Because in a world loud with chaos, it's the quiet heroes who make the difference. We'll see you in the next one.